brain growth, relaxation on the sofa or whatever after mukbang. What are you doing? Water. You should go through Windsor, Detroit, and then you can see Windsor. Oh, Detroit's actually gotten really nice, or they cleaned it up. A lot of new. It's a nice little city, eh? That Windsor. They even have one of those senior frogs, or whatever they do in the Bahamas. It's right there in the main downtown of Windsor. That Windsor downtown's cool. There's like that bar, and then there's this big, it's not a casino, but it's like one of those things. Then they have the casino. And then they got all different hotels. And then there's Niagara Falls. I haven't been there in years. Niagara Falls. I haven't been to Niagara Falls in some years. It used to be a thing, eh? The border, duty free. Who cares about duty free now? People used to get their alcohol, liquor, cigarettes, candy, chocolates. You can only get certain kinds of chocolates in the U.S., certain kinds in Canada. Back and forth. They got the legal duty free. Well, it was important, very important. Now it's just just the base standard. But after that prohibition with that Al Capone and all that, duty free, and that it had to be legal when they freed the prohibition in the United States on the alcohol or whatever. It all opened up. And that's, everybody already knows the duty free. You buy it from some people don't know it as duty free anymore. They just buy it from the store or whatever. But when you go to the border, it used to be, they used to smuggle it across the border, whatever the alcohol and all that. And the cigarettes and the marijuana and all types of stuff they used to smuggle. And then the trade from the U.S. was American firearms and certain things like that, cash or whatever. They had all different stuff to trade. The Americans did. Mostly their firearms. That's one of their most. Oh, they have cars and vehicles too. After auto manufacturers like Ford and Chevrolet and all that, some of their highest selling retail items are guns. Yeah, so I might get into that business. especially the antique. Can't really get into the PAL or the RPAL, like the licensed semi-autos. Can't get into that business because you need an RPAL to get into that business or whatever, but I could get into the antique business of the guns. That would be a good website. How about those crab rangoons? Carhartt. I got them all on Amazon. I want to get their jacket, a couple more shirts. They got some good shirts. And their hoodies are pretty nice too. I gotta shave my beard. It's getting out of control. Seen Kamala Harris on the White House or the Joe Biden Twitter today. And there was Joe, and it was something good. But as we anticipate the holidays, that's what they call the holidays, right? Yep. What is it? Christmas and then New Year's. And Hanukkah. And that other one that starts with a Y. What's the holiday that starts with a Y, Mom? There's Hanukkah and then Yahtzee. And then there's Yahtzee. And there was a time, I even have a video on my channel when I was experiencing it, that I had to look at the candles. The Hanukkah candles. You can search it up yourself, or you can go on my YouTube channel. I have a whole video looking at Hanukkah candles, different Hanukkah candles. They really enlighten you when you do look at them. I looked at about 25 or 50 even. I think 50 Hanukkah candles. 50 different Hanukkah candles. And every single one's different in its own way. There's all different styles. But then there's all different placeholders, candle holders. Not just the candles are different, but the place, metal or plastic, there's all different ones of the Hanukkah candle holders. And I have a video on it. But you can just do your own. They sell them everywhere, but on Amazon they have them, yeah. But I just go on Google or Microsoft Bing. And then I searched up the candles. You can even just search up any type of candles. I seen Mike Buddy's got a Christmas tree going this already, Mom. Mike's got a Christmas tree up. He's got an angel right up top of it, so maybe eventually you'll see it. I got a video of it. Mike Buddy's Christmas tree. And he said he got his daughter a new laptop for Christmas. I said, wow, she got a Chromebook. So that's cool that she got a Chromebook. Oh. And he said it costs good money, so. And they do. They cost like $300, those Chromebooks. I don't even have one. I wish I did. I have to get my laptop fixed. I don't need one because I have a MacBook. If I didn't have the MacBook and somebody was gifting me a Chromebook, I'd say, all right. But the MacBook Pro I have is so nice. There would be no point in me using a Chromebook because there's certain functions that I do on the computer that I wouldn't be able to do on a Chromebook. But a Chromebook is good for people that are learning. Because one of the number one things that you do when you're learning is use the browser. All you do is use the browser. Now I'm doing a teaching of computers. And you don't need Microsoft Windows 11 or Windows 10. And you don't need Mac OS X and all that, which is the most expensive. That's for only people that want to do the gaming on the installation of the game, Steam, World of Warcraft, whatever you want to do. What's that other one called? EA, I don't know, something or the other. EA, something or the others. Only those, and then it's all just developing and word processing and stuff. But if you're just watching videos or learning from blogs or even building HTML websites or anything like that, you can all do it on the Chromebook. Everything basic. Like if you've never did computers before, you could start learning probably for about 3 years to 5 years to start out on the Chromebook or whatever. I started on Windows. What was it? Windows. Well, I was alive when Windows 95 and all that was out, and I think I'd seen it, but very rarely would I see a computer. Maybe at the hospital or at the school or something, you'd see a Windows 95 because back then you can see prices on YouTube, thousands and thousands of dollars for computers, and that's how much they are. They were stuck on Windows 95 and XP and still are for years and years in hospitals, schools. Well, no, a couple of years ago they did a big update. It was more than a couple of years ago now. They've done the big updates that a lot of schools have moved on to. Well, a lot of schools have Mac. I've been to a few schools that have Mac, so that's a whole different story. But there were ones that were stuck on Windows XP and still are. Windows XP is great. And that's in their own service area, and I work with Windows XP, but that's what I really loved was Windows XP, and it's a great operating system. I wish I had a computer that had Windows XP still. My mom bought me the gaming computer that was Windows XP, and it was great. My dad took it, but I remember it, and it was great, Windows XP, and that's where I learned a lot of Windows on it. Windows is its own operating system. Every little device is its own operating system. Now I'm big into Apple. For years, I wish I had the money to buy Apple. I was one of those people, too, that only wished. Everybody generally is. That's the whole point of it when you finally get your Apple phone or whatever. And that's your Apple, right? I remember, there's been times. That one, you know who had the Apple iPhone originally? Was that Rick Ross guy. I think he had it. And I seen the way he was, because everybody's looking, what's the best phone for me? Do I want the biggest phone, the smallest? The iPhone for us, it fits right in our hands. That's why I like it. It's really small. And I seen Rick Ross, so I said, if Rick Ross, there's something to do with him, because he looked a lot like me, we had the same body type. I said, then there must be something about these Apple things that I never had before. And they make the Pear one too, but then I tried the iPhone. That's when it all started. When I had seen all the celebrities with the iPhones, not just Rick Ross. It was a big celebrity thing, still is. The Apple products, MacBooks and iPhones. But then eventually, I like Samsung too. Now I have everything. Samsung, Apple, everything. They have all different purposes. But you know what phone I use every single day? The iPhone. I want the iPhone 8 Plus. This is the iPhone 8. I want the iPhone 8 Plus. Will you ever see that? Probably not, because they always call me like the Adolf Hitler of our generation. And I always say, no, it's not me, no, it's not me. That's Justin Trudeau. Or that's Donald Trump, or that's Joe Biden, or it's not me. That's Doug Ford. There's guys that are much more powerful than me. But they do call me an Adolf Hitler. And he is powerful, much like Adolf Hitler. But Adolf Hitler was never very powerful because we learned his story, because I'm at the point where I learned his story. He killed himself, or whatever they say. And he wasn't a Canadian, and he wasn't an American, and that's what I am. So, that defeats the purpose. But he carried a gun and all that. So that's this famous story, because he carried a gun and I carry a gun or whatever. There's the relation. But I started out just a kid that Adolf Hitler came out years ago, 1945. I was born in 1993. So, but that's what they try to tell everyone they are when they want to tear you down. But you don't tear down. You learn. And I learned the whole story about what happened with Adolf, what he did right, what he did wrong. And lots of people have read this story or read the story. I've never read the Mein Kampf or whatever, but I know all about it. And what about the Gmod Gary's mod? That's a big one. If you could even talk about the game. It's, yeah, you learn a lot about it. It's a good story. But it was a real life story. And I happen to also be related to the Jews or whatever too. So that's a big contrary. I have a mix. As I've gotten older, I've realized I'm not 100% German. That's a fact. And he's not even that high a percentage. And he's got a high percentage of Jew in him too. Jews were oppressed. And we came from, my family, I was one of the biggest. Because most of my family, they were small. And they came from a lot of the Jews. And they tried to Jew me around. But then I ended up getting money to buy my big firearms and all. Now they can't Jew me around. But they say Hitler used to be a Jew too. Before he rose to power, he was like a Jew. And they treated him like dirt, And then he rose to power. He came into office or whatever. And then more people started to join on his side. And then they revolted against the Jews, right? But I am a Jew too. A Jew's a person, they grow to a certain way because their body type sometimes isn't. So there's fat Jews, there's skinny Jews. They killed a lot of them more than the skinny Jews. I was part of this. I guess I had this fat Jew, and they said, well, whatever. He's a pretty ambitious fat Jew. So then they let. Well, yeah, obviously, this was way before the 1900s. I think it was during the 17 or 1800s. We made our way to Canada way before then. But we come from Europe and all that. But what was it? Something about Jew. Yeah, he's part Jewish. I learned a lot about the Jewish faith, and it's more than a faith. It's also a race or whatever. So you have the Israelites, which I'm an Israelite too. That's part of my Jew. But yeah, he was no gosh darn Jew that got killed. But I could feel it in me sometimes when other purebred humans from another, because there's other different races, even different than mine. Sometimes I face it, racism. Because I'm mixed not just only with the Israelite, but I'm also part to the Indian and all that too. That's why we have the dark eyes and all that. But some of them don't have the dark eyes. But our vice president is part Indian, South Indian or whatever. So that's all changed. They're trying, but they do try that racism. And Joe Biden happens to be the other color or whatever. We're all white. Me and Joe Biden are white people. I designate as Caucasian. And I grew up speaking English, Canadian American English or whatever. But, and I've been to Tennessee. I've been everywhere. I've been to wherever. But here's the thing. Joe's not racist against my color, and he's not racist against. I'm not racist against Joe's. And I don't know what to say about that.